Now, some of the problems in measuring national income in India are firstly, non-monetized sector. There are a number of sectors in which the wages and salaries are provided in kind, not in monetary measures. Secondly, it is the illiteracy. Due to high illiteracy rate, the results may be biased. Thirdly, lack of occupational specification. We have difficulty in classifying the nature of the job existing in India. Fourthly, unorganized productive activities. People involved in unorganized productive activities are not fully covered in the calculation of national income. Fifthly, lack of adequate statistical data. Inadequate data leads to approximation of the calculation. Sixthly, it is a self-consumption. Here, the farm products kept for self-consumption are not considered for national income calculation. Seventhly, it is the unpaid services, services of mothers, housewives, etc. are not reckoned as national income. Now, according to Kuznets, he brings out certain difficulties and problems in the measurement of national income. Firstly, he mentions the non-availability of statistical material. Some persons like electricians, plumbers, etc. do some job in their spare time and receive money. The state finds it very difficult to know the exact amount received from such services. This income, which should have been added to the national income, is not recorded due to the lack of information of statistical material. Secondly, the danger of double counting. While computing national income, there is always the danger of double or multiple counting. If K isn't taken in estimating income, the cost of the commodity is likely to be counted twice or thrice, and the national income will be overestimated. It refers to the counting the value of a good more than once. For instance, a woodcutter sells a log of wood at $2 to a carpenter. The latter makes a table of it and sells it to a furniture vendor at $4. Now, if the price of wood is counted every time, then the national income increases by $6, whereas actually the actual increase was only $4. That is the final price of the final product. Thirdly, non-marketed services. In estimating national income, only those services are included for which payment is made. The unpaid services or non-marketed services are excluded from national income. Unpaid services like the services of mothers or housewives, etc. Fourthly, difficulty in assessing the depreciation allowance. The deduction of depreciation allowances, accidental damages, repair and replacement charges from the national income is not an easy task. It requires high degree of judgment to assess the depreciation allowances and other charges. Fifthly, it is the housing part. A person lives in a rented house. He pays rupees 5,000 per month to the landlord. The income of the landlord is recorded in the national income. Let us suppose the tenant purchases the same house from the landlord. Now the income of the owner occupant has increased by rupees 5,000. Is it not justifiable to include this income in the national income? Should or should not this income be recorded in the national income is still a controversial question. Sixth one, transfer earnings. While measuring national income, it must be seen that transfer payments shouldn't become a part of a national income. The payments made as relief allowances, pensions, etc. do not contribute towards current production. They should be excluded from national income. Sixthly, self-consumed production. In a developing countries, namely India, A significant part of the output is not exchanged for money in the market. It is either consumed directly by the producers, in the case of farmers, where they reserve a part of their produce for their home and the surplus is sold to the market. I hope you got the point here, guys. It is, it is either consumed directly by the producers or bartered for other goods. What do you mean by barter? It is an exchange system. This unorganized and non-monetary sector makes calculation of national income difficult. Seventhly, it is eighthly, price level changes. National income is measured in terms of money. The measuring rod of money itself does not remain stable. This means that national income can change without any change in output. Now let us try to look on the problems of measurement in underdeveloped countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, etc., where national income cannot be accurately measured due to the following reasons which I mentioned. Self-consumed bartered consumption. Some of the transactions of agriculture goods in the villages are done without the use of money. The statisticians therefore cannot measure the exact amount of transactions for inclusion in the national income. Secondly, no systematic accounts are maintained. Most of the producers do not keep any record of the sale of products in the market. This makes the task of national income complicated. Thirdly, no occupational classification. There is no occupational specialization in underdeveloped countries. People receive income by working in various capacities. One person sometimes works as a carpenter and at other time as a mason. The statistician cannot accurately and precisely measure the income of such persons. Fourthly and lastly, it is the unreliable data. Statisticians themselves do not feel the significance of figures which they collect. They also do not take much pain for getting the reliable data. Therefore, the figures of national income are not up to date in the underdeveloped countries.